New job. Ooh, exciting, right?
It really is.
Like that feeling, you're like, okay, I got this, but then also, where's the coffee machine? And please don't let me accidentally call someone mom. It's a whole
You're
thing.
not alone there. It's a universal experience, pretty much.
Totally. And speaking of universal, our listener, you know the one, is diving into a new role, armed with a mountain of advice, books, articles, maybe even like a motivational coffee mug.
I've seen those.
Oh, yeah. So for this deep dive, we're ditching the fluff. We're going straight for the actionable stuff, the kind of stuff that'll make you the office MVP before you even know where the good snacks are hidden.
Because who needs snacks when you're indispensable?
Exactly. So first up, let's talk about company culture. Everyone says, learn it, live it, breathe it. But what does that even mean?
Right. It's one of those things that's easy to say, but like actually getting it, it's trickier. It's more than just reading the company's mission statement on the wall?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's totally about the vibe. Like, I once worked at this place, super formal emails, always. Dear so-and-so, warmest regards, that whole bit.
Been there.
So I'm mirroring that, right? Trying to fit in. Then, in person, everyone's like high-fiving and using emojis out loud.
Oh, no.
My boss actually pulled me aside, laughing, said he thought I was going to challenge him to a duel with all the formal emails.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good example of how reading the room goes beyond just the surface level.
Right.
It's about figuring out, okay, how do things really work here? Is it all top-down decision-making, or is it more collaborative? Do they value taking risks, or do they prefer to play it safe?
That's such a good point. It's like figuring out the secret handshake.
Exactly. Once you get that deeper understanding,
Yeah.
it's like you've cracked the code. You can navigate things so much more easily.
Okay, so we've cracked the code. We're blending in. Next up, making friends. Or I guess networking. I hate that word.
The worst.
It just feels so transactional, like I'm collecting business cards instead of actual human connections.
I think a better way to think about it is just being curious about the people you work with. Instead of going in with the mindset of, I need to network, try approaching it like, hey, these are interesting people. I want to learn more about them.
So it's less about like working the room at a conference and more about those casual chats in the break room.
Exactly. Those little interactions can go a long way because let's be real, who hasn't bonded with a coworker over the office coffee situation, right?
Oh, the coffee machine gossip is the best gossip.
Right. It's the ultimate icebreaker. But another good strategy is to look for those small ways you can offer to help out, especially early on.
Like what?
Like, let's say someone's swamped prepping for a big presentation. Maybe you offer to format their slides or do a bit of research.
Those little things make a huge difference.
They really do. It shows you're a team player, even when you're the newbie.
Speaking of being a team player, let's talk about feedback.
Ah, feedback. Always important.
Right. It can be kind of scary to ask for, but every single resource I've seen screams about how crucial it is. So how do we get over that fear and actually make feedback work for us?
Okay, so first, let's reframe feedback in our minds. Think of it less like a performance review and more like dot directions on a map.
Ooh, I like that.
It's not about pointing out flaws, it's about helping you get where you want to go faster.
Okay, so less, am I doing okay? And more, what?
More like, hey, I'm working on this project and I was wondering if you had any suggestions for how I could improve this part. Be specific.
That is so much less intimidating,
Right. It shows you're invested in growing.
which is what you want to do,
Yeah.
especially in a new job. Okay, all this talk about feedback and growing makes me think about another big one.
Yeah.
Being proactive.
Ah, yes. The fine line between taking initiative and, not stepping on any toes.
Exactly. Especially early on, you don't want to come in like you've got it all figured out.
Exactly. Remember what we were saying about company culture? Observation is key, especially in those first few weeks.
Like being a fly on the wall.
Exactly. See how the team interacts, who takes the lead on certain things, what the overall vibe is.
So maybe hold off on that big project idea until you've had a chance to, like, read the room.
Exactly. Start with smaller things that show you're paying attention and willing to pitch in.
So, like, let's say you notice that everyone's always struggling to find the latest version of a document.
Right.
Instead of, I don't know, suggesting a whole system overhaul on day one, maybe you offer to create a shared folder that's organized.
Now you're getting it. Those small, thoughtful actions can make a big difference.
So observe, start small, got it. But honestly, this is a lot. Decoding the culture, networking without networking, asking for feedback, being proactively helpful. It's a lot,
It is a lot, especially all at once. And that's where the whole patient's advice comes in.
which is so much easier said than done.
You're telling me. But it's true. Starting a new job is a marathon, not a sprint. There's going to be a learning curve, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's like that saying, you don't learn to walk by following the rules. You learn by doing and falling over a bunch
Exactly.
and getting back up again. And hey, maybe laughing about it with your new coworkers later.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
You're already a pro.
Well, with your advice, how could I not be? Seriously, though, this has been incredibly helpful. So to our listener out there, remember, you've got this.
You absolutely do.
You've got the skills, the drive, and now, thanks to this deep dive, the know-how to navigate that exciting, sometimes awkward, but ultimately amazing new job world.
And remember, patience and curiosity will be your superpowers.
Yes. Now, here's a final thought. As you head out there and conquer the working world, every workplace, it's like it has its own rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, your job is to find where your skills and passions line up with that rhythm.
That's when the magic really happens.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe you'll even find some amazing snacks along the way.
The ultimate bonus.